Hey everyone! Are your board exams just around the corner? Feeling a little stressed about the Indian election process chapter? Well, don't worry. You've come to the perfect place. In the next few minutes, we're going to speed run every single key concept you need to know to absolutely master this section. Ready? Let's jump right in.
So, here's our game plan. We'll start with the Election Commission and what it does. Then we'll get into the Model Code of Conduct, follow the whole election journey from A to Z, and finish up with some key terms and a rapid-fire list of the top 10 things you absolutely have to remember.
All right, first up, the star of the show for this chapter, the Election Commission of India, or the ECI. Seriously, if you think about it, they're like the ultimate, totally neutral umpire in the massive game of Indian democracy.
So let me ask you a quick question. When elections are happening, who's the real boss? Is it the Prime Minister? Maybe the President? Nope, neither of them. The real power actually lies with a completely independent body.
And that body is the Election Commission of India, or ECI. Now, if you remember one word from this whole thing, make it this one: autonomous. You have to write that in your exam. It means the ECI is not controlled by the government. It gets its power straight from the Constitution, and its only job is to make sure our elections are free and fair.
Okay, get your memory caps on. January 25th, 1950. You need to remember this date. It's when the ECI was officially formed, and it's a super common one-mark question. Here's a little bonus tip to help you remember. This is also why we celebrate January 25th as National Voters' Day in India.
So, who actually makes up the ECI? Well, since 1993, it's been a three-member body. Another key fact for you. You've got one Chief Election Commissioner, or CEC, and then two other election commissioners. The president appoints them, and they serve for a fixed term of 6 years or until they hit 65 years old, whichever happens first. Trust me, these numbers are prime material for MCQs.
So now we know who they are, but what do they actually do? This next part about the ECI's powers and functions is absolutely crucial for those long answer questions, so you'll want to pay close attention here. And to make this super easy to remember when you're sitting in that exam hall, I've got a little memory trick for you. Just remember AAQ. The ECI's powers fall into three main buckets: administrative, advisory, and quasi-judicial. AAQ. Got it? Okay, let's break that down.
The first A stands for administrative. This is basically the doing part of their job, the day-to-day stuff. It covers everything from preparing the voter lists, the electoral rolls, to announcing the final election schedule. They're the ones who check all the candidates' paperwork, give official recognition to political parties, and, of course, they hand out all those famous election symbols. And they enforce that all-important rulebook, the Model Code of Conduct.
The second A is for advisory. This is where the ECI gives advice to the president, for example, on disqualifying a member of parliament. And the Q stands for quasi-judicial, which is just a fancy way of saying they act like a court. The ECI steps in to settle disputes between parties, like if a party splits and both sides want the same election symbol. So yeah, AAQ covers the whole shebang.
Okay, let's zoom in on that rule book I just mentioned, the Model Code of Conduct, or MCC. Think of it as a set of guidelines for every party and candidate. The second the election date is announced, bam, this code kicks in, and its only goal is to make sure everyone plays fair.
The MCC has some really big no's. Candidates are absolutely forbidden from using caste or religion to get votes. No using temples or mosques for campaigning. And definitely no bribing voters with cash or liquor. And hey, remember these two numbers for your exam? Campaigning is totally banned within 100 meters of a polling booth on voting day. And all campaigning has to stop exactly 48 hours before the polls close. That 48-hour rule? It's a classic exam question.
All right, we know the rules. Now let's actually trace the sequence of events. This is the entire election process from the very start to the very end. So, it all starts with nomination, which is when candidates officially throw their hats in the ring. Next up is scrutiny, where election officials go through all the paperwork with a fine-tooth comb. That's followed by the loud and exciting campaigning period. Then the big one arrives, polling day, when we all get to go out and vote. And finally, it's counting day, when all the votes are tallied up and we find out who won.
So what happens when you actually step inside the polling booth? Well, first, they'll check your ID. Then, an official will put a mark of indelible ink on your left forefinger. That's so you can't vote again. After that, you'll head over to the electronic voting machine, the EVM, to cast your vote in secret.
Okay, let's switch gears. Time for a rapid-fire round. These are the important terms and recent changes that I can pretty much guarantee you'll see on your exam paper in one way or another. These are the details that get you the top marks.
So, what's the voting age in India? It's 18. Simple, right? But it wasn't always 18. It used to be 21. For your exam, you need to remember the amendment that changed this. It was the 61st Constitutional Amendment, way back in 1988. That amendment number is super important.
Here's a classic differentiate between question: national versus regional party. The absolute easiest way to remember this is that a national party is a big deal in 4 or more states. A regional party, just like the name says, is influential in less than 4 states. Mentioning the specific percentages is great if you can, but that 4-state rule is the main point you need to hit.
Ever heard of NOTA? It simply stands for none of the above. This option was introduced in 2013, and it's that last button you'll see on the EVM. So if you go to vote, but you really don't like any of the candidates on the list, you can press NOTA. It's your official right to reject everyone.
And this is what it looks like. This is the official symbol for NOTA that you'll see on the voting machine, a ballot paper with a big cross mark on it. Seeing it like this really helps lock the idea in your brain.
Okay, take a deep breath. We have covered a lot. Now for the most important part of this whole thing. This is your final high-speed checklist. If you can remember these 10 points walking into your exam, you are going to be in fantastic shape. Let's do this.
Number 1. ECI was formed on January 25, 1950. 2. It's a 3-member body. 3. The voting age is 18, thanks to the 61st Amendment. 4. The Model Code of Conduct kicks in on Announcement Day. 5. Campaigning stops 48 hours before polling ends. 6. We vote using EVMs. 7. Indelible ink goes on the left forefinger. 8. NOTA stands for none of the above. 9. Remember the 3 functions with AAQ. And number 10, that all-important word, the ECI is autonomous.
And that's it. That's the whole chapter decoded. You are now officially ready to tackle any question that comes your way. But just for fun, here's a final thought. Now that you know exactly how it all works, what's the one big change you think could make our elections even better? It's a great thing to think about. All the very best for your exams. You are going to do great.